And so now we go on to the next speaker, Ms. Fe Buela, who is the officer in charge, regional director for Region 5. Ms. Buela.
First, my respect to the President of the Tourism Congress of the Philippines, Mr. Jose Clemente III. Also, the Chief Executive Officer of Philippines Air Asia, Mr. Ricky Isla, and its marketing head, Ms. June Aleni Kakam. My colleagues from the Department of Tourism, DOT Assistant Secretary Chris Morales, the DOT Regional Directors and OICs in Luzon, our industry partners. I'd like to specially mention my fellow Bicolanos out there. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Well, first of all, my appreciation to the Tourism Congress of the Philippines for this opportunity to share the updates on tourism in region, our agency's intervention, and the ways forward as we push for tourism recovery in Bicol amidst the pandemic. With over a year in lockdown and community quarantine, the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic caused devastating impact to the entire tourism spectrum. In 2020, the region's visitors inflow dropped by 87% as a result of the travel ban, the closing of borders, restrictions on large gatherings, the face-to-face sessions, thus disrupted tourism operations, causing shutdown and temporary closure of businesses with thousands of workers displaced and lost their jobs. In recent weeks, DOH recorded a spike of COVID cases in the Bicol region, thereby placing some provinces under high risk and moderate risk. As shown in the summary of the level of risk to COVID-19, as of April 28, Bicol is generally under moderate risk, while specific provinces such as Albay, Camarines Norte, and Masbate are all in high risk, Camarines Sur and Sorsogon both in moderate risk, while Catanduanes is at low risk. To curb further the virus transmission, the BIETF imposed the closure of border at Santa Elena, Camarines Norte, and Del Gallego, Camarines Sur, particularly those coming from areas under NCR Plus and those in ECQ and MECQ. With a yearning to revive tourism businesses and steer the local economy, number of destinations, sites, and attractions have already been opened. Not until after the Holy Week, the number of COVID cases in the region surged, which compelled some LGUs with previously open destinations to again close their doors to travelers, especially those under areas ECQ and MECQ. So for now, 90 to 95% are open to locals or residents of the province, while 75 to 80% open for domestic tourists, subject to compliance with the entry protocols. Next. So as part of the department's efforts in welcoming the safe and smooth return of the visitors, travel protocols enforced by the LGUs were consolidated, regularly updated, and posted on the DOT's website for the traveler's guidance and easy reference. So highlighted are the entry requirements, which are supported by LGU issuances, providing the policies and guidelines in the opening of sites and activities. So as shown in the screen, the RT-PCR or antigen negative test result taken 3 days before the travel are mandatory requirements of all the open destinations, while travel authority and medical certificates are only required in Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, and Naga City. For the visitors' registration and contact tracing system, LGUs utilize different digital apps, while some LGUs still adopt manual registration and contact tracing, as shown in the table. So other protocols include health screening and profiling, advanced accommodation booking at accredited hotels, also booking or travel arrangement with accredited travel and tour agencies, and copy of the itineraries. So to prepare the destinations and establishments for the safe reopening, we conducted various orientations and meetings for LGUs and private tourism stakeholders, particularly on the DOT issuances, providing for the health and safety guidelines and the operations of various tourism establishments. Also, the LGU's orientation on the health and safety guidelines in the operations of tourism attractions such as parks, natural sites, historical landmarks, and museums under the community quarantine and the new normal. Orientations also include the amended guidelines on the operations of travel agencies and tour operators, tour guides, MICE facilities, and organizers, to name a few. Other online consultations conducted were on tourism restart. This is to guide the LGUs on the safe reopening of the destinations, especially for the domestic tourists, and shared as well the criteria on assessing the destination's readiness to open, particularly held in Sorsogon, and was presented as well at the Bicol Regional Tourism Committee meeting. To encourage LGUs to implement a streamlined and unified travel protocol, DOST was invited in the Regional Tourism Consultation to present the Safe, Swift, and Smart Passage, or the S-Pass, and Stay Safe app, which is a travel information management system. This is for the tracing system to facilitate the ease, safe, and smooth travel entry to the destinations. Also, the inspection and monitoring of tourism establishments were also undertaken to ensure compliance on the DOT's acceptable standards and on health and safety guidelines. Copies of these DOT issuances were disseminated to LGUs and private tourism stakeholders and posted in our website for ready reference. In addition, we're also developing an interprovincial and regional travel bubble that will offer a range of destinations and product offerings featuring fresh discoveries and enhanced sites and attractions, activities, and facilities that will provide a more rewarding and renewed visitors' experience under the new and better normal. So part of the tourism loop being created is the Center of Fun, FUN of which stands for Farm, Faith, Food under the new normal, which covers the select destinations and attractions of Camarines Sur, Albay, and Sorsogon. So this is actually a 4-night, 5-day tour package combining culinary, religious, and farm experiences. For travelers with limited time and budget, may opt to take Camarines Sur Albay or Albay Sorsogon package, which is a 2 nights, 3 days tour. Site assessment and validations were already conducted in said provinces to identify not only the new and enhanced destinations and attractions, but as well as the product offerings, and also, most importantly, the readiness under the new normal. So this circuit will also be expanded to South Luzon areas, which include the National Capital Region, Regions 4A and 4B, to promote the product offerings to wider travel market and benefit as well for the spillover of tourists from destinations in these adjacent regions. Under the same cluster, the region's major dive destinations will also be highlighted, particularly in Bicol, the Dive and Drive, which links Ticao Island of Masbate from Anilao, Batangas, and Puerto Galera. Well, Ticao Island of Masbate offers one of the best dive spots in the country with about 30 dive sites, the main of which is the Manta Ball, where divers can interact with the rare marine species like the manta rays, the hammerhead sharks, thresher sharks, tiger sharks, white-tip sharks, and other pelagics. Series of workshops were undertaken to make this interregional tourism circuit not only materialize but become successful. For other options, visitors may also avail individual package of the regions, considering the length of time and the financial considerations. We will also introduce the spectacular islands and islets and other natural tourism treasures through the Island Adventure. This is under the tourism corridor of Calaguas, Caramoan, and Catanduanes. And for those with limited time and budget, they can opt to take a combination of the two or individual package. So validation of this is still underway. So this is actually just few of the number of tourism circuits being developed by the office. In partnership with the local government units, we will continue to explore our region's vast tourism resources to identify and develop viable and new products and enhancing the existing ones. These are centered on nature and outdoor non-contact activities like the bike tourism to offer diverse route and stunning sites like the mountain ride, seaside rides, scenic routes, and thus provide riders various experience options. In partnership with the City of Legazpi, we'll be working on the Ooze sailing at Albay Gulf, fronting the Legazpi City Boulevard, which is a favorite place for people wanting to relax, stroll, and do some physical healthful activities. We also tap the potential of rivers through our Ilog Tourism Project, or the inclusive local growth through river tourism, which include the enhancement of Don Picasso or Don Sol Pilar Castilla Sorsogon River experience, highlighting Ogod River's Firefly Watching Tour of Don Sol, Malbog River and Sea Sailing of Pilar, Pili Dulangan River Tour in Castilla, and Sorsogon's Buhatan River Cruise. Capacity building were provided for its community-based tourism organizations and establishments of tourism facilities through the special projects, and just recently, we turned over to LGU Pilar some materials for the boat refurbishments. We're also partnering with ALBA-5 or Albay Bacon Farmers Incorporated, LGU Manito, and EDC Bacman for the development of Manito Mangrove River experience. We will also highlight the region's traditional and specialty cuisines through a Bicol culinary journey to complement the eco-cultural tour and for a more pleasurable experience. We will also continue to forge partnership with the travel trade buyers, particularly in destination marketing and tour package development, thus invitational and familiarization tours for travel agencies and tour operators will be hosted to provide first-hand information and online exposure on the destinations, attractions, and other product offerings under the tourism circuit developed. We also delve on digital marketing for Bicol to stay relevant and to sustain our online exposure by featuring the images and audiovisual productions of the destinations, our attractions, activities, facilities, events, health and safety guidelines, as well as other significant programs of the department through our various online media platforms. Linkages are likewise strengthened with the digital media influencer to intensify information and awareness on the destinations, product offerings, and our agency's interventions. Participation to travel and tourism fairs, either on-site or virtual, will also be pursued to heighten destinations awareness as well as introduce new discoveries. B2B will likewise be facilitated to allow local tour operators and other product suppliers to sell their packages, build new contacts, and meet existing buyers. Upskilling and retooling the industry's human capital are likewise in place through capacity building trainings, not only to enhance their knowledge and the quality of service delivery, but to better prepare them in the new global reality. So some of which are these trainings which are identified here. So I'll no longer elaborate on this. So these are just few of the number of training programs that are set. Some were already implemented and many more are set to be implemented within the year. Recognizing the vital role of the private sectors in tourism development, we shall create greater support and cooperation between the DOT and the industry partners in the region. In line with this, we shall be partnering with the tourism-oriented private stakeholders, or TAPs. This is in the joint Second TAPS Congress and 15th Bicol Regional Tourism Summit. This is a follow-through of the first TAPS Summit, which we conducted last year. So TAPS is a DOT organized group from regional to provincial level, represented by various tourism-related sectors, from accommodation, travel and tours, tour guides, transportation, dining, farm tourism operators, to name a few. Other upcoming shared undertakings with TOPS are the virtual tour and Peña Francia celebration participation and the 2021 annual conference of Bicol Association of Tourism and Hospitality Educators. So this is also part of strengthening our partnership with the academy. Also assisted is the Regional Tour Guides Association in their familiarization tour in Albay and Sorsogon to keep them updated and better informed of the new sites, attractions, facilities, and product offerings for a more effective flighting. We also partnered with Home Boat Builders Yacht Club on their Uzbu Sailing Clinic as part of the plan to hold sailing activity along the Albay Gulf and the possibility of holding the Uzbu's National Championship Regatta in Legazpi. In support of the displaced tourism workers, the office facilitated the availment of financial assistance for these affected employees from tourism-related establishments, the community-based tourism organizations, and tour guides, as well as the tourism support services from transportation, dining, and other support service providers. For Region 5, we have a total allocation of 82,409,721. This is for 16,482 target workers. As of April 28, DOT-5 issued 850 endorsements covering 14,838 individuals. This is for the individual workers, while corresponding cost is 74,190,000. Of this DOT endorsement, DOLE already paid out 42,760,000 or 52% of the total allocation for 8,552 workers, while 19,410,000 or 24% of the budget is for disbursement for the 3,882 workers. For now, DOLE is awaiting for the release of 20 million or 24% of the remaining allocation for the region to cover the 4,000 pending applications and for processing. Aligned with the National Tourism Development Plan's strategy of developing access and connectivity, the DOT-DPWH, through the Tourism Road Infrastructure Program, paved the way not only in providing convenient, safe, and seamless travel of tourists to the destinations, but likewise opened the doors for the introduction of new attractions and establishment of tourism-related facilities, thus provided economic opportunities in the locality. So for 2021, Region 5 has a total of 37 funded tourism road projects with a total cost of 1,120,632, 4 of which are implemented by the regional office, DPWH. 3 of these are ongoing, 1 is not yet started, while 33 are under the district engineering offices, 21 of which are ongoing, 11 not yet started, and 9 projects suspended. So as we further prepare the region for the resurgence of tourism, we will focus on strengthening our ties with relevant line agencies, the local government units, and the private sectors to complement our efforts and create synergy in accelerating regional economic development with tourism as the driving force. So these include our continued partnership with DPWH for the Tourism Road Infrastructure Program, which include identification, evaluation, and prioritization of proposed road projects towards improvement, particularly the construction and rehabilitation of the road networks to and from the sites, service centers, and the gateway. We're also looking into the DPWH's implementation of the QBEX, or the Quezon-Bicol Expressway, which will connect Bicol, particularly San Fernando Camarines Sur, from Pagbilao, Quezon. So the QBEX will actually provide safe and direct route to Bicol provinces thus reduce the travel time from the usual 10 hours to 6 hours. So the realization of this project will create movement of people and visitors to and from the region, given the time and cost-efficient travel. We'll also continue to strengthen our partnership with DENR to intensify campaign on the environmental conservation and protection and implementation of sustainable tourism management practices, especially in destination areas. Also with DTI for promotion of tourism trade and investment, with DOLE for livelihood projects for host destination communities, with Department of Agriculture for farm tourism development, and of course for continuing partnership with tourism-oriented stakeholders, especially with TAPS, this is an DOT organized association to improve the services and facilities as part of the efforts in promoting global competitiveness. Also, the DOT-led Bicol Regional Tourism Committee, which is a multi-sectoral cooperation which provides policy direction and coordinated actions among the member agencies through its combined efforts and resources. We'll also be updating the Regional Tourism Development Plan, which shall integrate strategies that will provide the roadmap for resiliency, inclusivity, and sustainable tourism development. So this will involve participation of the concerned line agencies, LGUs, and the private stakeholders through consultations, meetings, focus group discussions, and site assessment, as well as other activities to gather their inputs, strengthen interactive and collaborative work among the stakeholders to achieve common and mutually beneficial goals. So the plan will be aligned with the new administration's development agenda. So after the plan formulation, of course, we'll be rolling out the Regional Tourism Development Plan to LGUs for alignment with their local plans. So as part of our advocacy on sustainable tourism, we are into development of community-based tourism as among our priorities to involve the informal sectors like the fisher folks, the farmers group, the women's sector, the out-of-school youth in harnessing their tourism resources and create productive activities that will provide them livelihood and income opportunities, as well as transform them into responsible stewards of their tourism assets. Implementation of disaster risk reduction management will also be given focus to increase resiliency on various natural hazards, impact of climate change, man-made disasters, and health crises like this pandemic. Training workshop on carrying capacity will also be conducted in partnership with DNR to determine the allowable number of visitors and human activities in sites and attractions. Formulation of site management plan for the LGUs and community-based tourism organizations and other destination managers to maintain and ensure the future of the sites and destinations through responsible practices to guarantee environmental sound management. LGUs will also be encouraged to institute administrative reforms, legislate laws, and craft ordinances that will provide policies for environmental conservation and protection, like the anti-plastic campaign, the anti-illegal fishing, anti-illegal logging, use of renewable energy, to name a few. In preparation for the operationalization of the Bicol International Airport, we shall continue to work and encourage LGUs in the development enhancement of sites, attractions, and product offerings to provide more options that will suit the visitor's preference and interest. These include nature tourism products, sports and adventure, as well as culture and heritage tourism. And as part of cultural preservation, we shall revive our colorful Pastores Bicol, a religious Christmas presentation featuring the region's age-old tradition, depicting the rejoicing shepherds of Bethlehem who sang the first Christmas carol during the birth of baby Jesus. This is actually an annual activity of the DOT, but was temporarily suspended in these past 2 years. So we shall also reactivate the student tourism ambassadors in Region 5 or the STAR 5 to encourage greater involvement and participation of tourism students from colleges, universities, and other schools in Bicol offering tourism-related courses. So this program involves volunteerism, OJT program, tourism-related seminars, to name a few. So all these are part of the department's efforts to reactivate tourism in the Bicol region. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity and magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Thank you very much and mabuhay.